Hello boys and girls, welcome back to part 2 of the horror game series. This episode will most likely end the series as the game has basically been finished. If I do want to add updates to the game, I will, but I won't post about it, seeing as it might be minor things like bugs, etc. Anyway guys, let's get right into the video. For the first task, what I wanted to do was kind of get an idea of the camping game. If you've ever played it, you start in a lobby where there are different cars, and if you go into the car, you get teleported to the actual game. But obviously for this one, I was going to use a plane to actually fit the story. I wanted to make the landing gears just so it's more satisfying when the plane actually takes off. As you can see, the plane fits the correct player size, and I think the colour's pretty cool. I started working on the map. I just used some inspiration from the camping game again because I thought it doesn't have to be like really unique. All I was gonna do is change the road to like what's it called? Like an airstrip? I forgot it's called. This map was pretty easy to make, seeing as all we needed was square looking barriers and just a road pretty much. Once the airstrip was done, I started working on the spawners. Again, pretty simple, all just a few blocks and that's it. There we had it. Our lobby was pretty much done. I wanted to start working on the bit where it teleports you inside of the plane, but I think I started it a bit too fast, seeing as it was pretty hard to figure out what I was actually doing, so I started using quite a lot of tutorials later. The first few scripts weren't really working out as I really needed it to, so I started working on some other things later in progress. As you can see right now, I started working on the inside of the plane, what the player would see once they got teleported. I started creating the windows and I think they came out pretty well. I started making the interior of the plane. Mainly there was only just seats, so this wasn't very hard. It was just a few parts and just a seat. And just from a few parts and a few unions, I thought it looked pretty good. With the help of Alvin Blox's camping tutorial, I was able to make it so when the player touches near the plane, it would teleport them onto one of the plane seats and it would teleport them to the actual game. And as you can see, when I touch the part, it teleports me to one of the plane seats, and it also displays an exit button, and when I click it, it will instantly respawn my character back to the lobby. Then all I had to do now was just make it do it for the other plane, so when you actually went next to the other plane, it would teleport you into the other plane's seats. I then began making the actual timer, so it would actually display how long the plane will stay for, and then it will fly away after the timer's ended. Scripting it was pretty easy, as I'd already previously done it in my round system, so it took me a couple minutes to actually get it sorted. Even though I have done this previously, this actually took pretty long to actually figure out what was going on. Seeing as making the rest of the map and everything work, this took me about 3 hours to do. And I'm not going to sit here and edit around 3 hours of things of me just struggling to fix something. So let's just skip and I'll show you what's been happening. So here are the results after all of the bug fixing and all the testing. As you can see, the sign displays how long the plane is going to stay for. And after the timer ends, the plane actually takes off. And after I had scripted all of the teleporting things, it was finally finished, and I decided to let my friend play just to test it and see if it would work with 2 people or more. And as you can see, it doesn't bug out and it actually places the players into a random seat that's not occupied. And if we wait a few seconds, it should hopefully teleport us. And as you can see, it teleported us into a random private server in the actual horror game. And now it was time to actually start updating the horror game itself. First I began playtesting it just to get a gist of what is bugging out and what I should update in the first place. I sort of had some ideas of what I wanted to do, but overall I was still pretty confused of what I wanted to do next. ChatGPT came up with a good idea where the next room would be a maze, and in this maze there would be different doors to unlock, and in these doors would be different buttons to open up a gate. Outside the gate would be a new room that we could explore, or just maybe even going outside. Before creating the maze, I wanted to add a puzzle into the core room just to make it hard, and just why not? I wasn't really sure what to do with the puzzle, so I just thought things up. The reason why I'm struggling here. My idea for this puzzle was where you would get different switches on the walls, and you would just have to turn them on for the gate to open, and you could proceed through and go into the maze. I used one of my models that I created that morning when I was making this game. I added sounds to all the levers just to give it that satisfaction when you actually used it. I scripted some more dialogue so that the players kind of knew what was going on and they didn't really have to hint themselves to it. Once I was finished with the dialogue and all the other stuffs in the scripts, we were pretty much finished for that puzzle. Again, I began playtesting the game just to see if there was any bugs that I had to fix again. I began fixing some errors on the levers just so it didn't cause any problems in the actual game. Apart from some slight bugs, as you can see, when we pulled the lever, it would say the number of how many levers you've pulled and how many levers you actually need to open the gate. Again, there were some slight errors, but they were pretty simple and quite easy to fix. I got this insane plugin where I could easily generate a maze, so there was no trouble with having to actually build the maze itself. Not sure why that part really took long, but we managed to actually make it and we have the maze, sort of. I started to build the floor and that was pretty simple. It was like 2 parts and yeah, that was basically it. But with the floor, I wanted to add a specific detail to show that the whole building's like run by this green chemical. So I decided to put it like underneath the floor to just give it that cool vibe, you know. I wanted to skip this part because it did take quite a while for me to actually build the maze somehow. As you can see, I'm testing it here. Also, I did add the actual alien inside of the maze just so I could see how it feels and if it actually does feel quite scary, because the main point of this game is for it to be scary. As you can see, with already a little bit dim lighting, it is very dark inside the maze. There were quite a few bugs with the alien itself and the animations, but we can leave that for later. Now it was time for the puzzles inside the maze. In one of my old games, I made a horror game where you were chased by a giant orange. You might see it on this channel if you scroll a bit down. But basically, I wanted to kind of copy it like that, as like where you would search around the maze and find different keys and unlock different doors, like I said previously. Making the scripts were pretty easy. All I had to do is, if it was to detect the player and if they did have the key in their hand or in their inventory, then it would let them open the door. But obviously it was a little bit tricky because I did want it to be client-sided, meaning that only that player could see them unlock the door instead of the whole server. Then I started to decorate the door, seeing as it was already finished. Apologies for how lengthy this video is. I am not the best editor when it comes to actually cutting down the videos, and I also had quite a lot of videos to actually edit. All of the videos added up to 24 hours in general, in total. So yeah, sorry about that. But if you are interested in what I am doing, I do really hope that you guys will stay and watch this video to the end. That would be really appreciated. Before we actually carry on, I would just like to say how grateful I am again for getting me up to 300 subscribers, which is insane. And I think we've nearly got around 10k views on the 3-hour video. So I just really want to say a big thank you to you all. I wanted to add a little Easter egg in the game, because why not? And I thought it would just be funny in general. Again guys, about the length of this video, I will be cutting it into little bits on the actual video itself. So you don't have to sit and watch this whole thing. If you want to listen to a few things, you can. I'm not forcing you to watch this whole thing. I would just appreciate if you did. Thank you. For the Easter egg, I just wanted to make it look like I was sleeping on a chair because, I don't know, it was just funny and just, it came to my head. And there we go. You've got me sleeping on a chair because why not? I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with the maze, so I just started adding decorations because why not? Just as a thank you for playing, I wanted to add one of my viewers as he was one of the first people to actually play the game. I also added my friend's avatar because it was very cursed and I thought it fit the alien theme. I started putting all the doors and all the different items in place. And now it was time for the actual puzzle. The base of this puzzle, which I've already told you, is going to be a gate, and throughout the maze there's going to be different buttons, and when you press the buttons, or when you press all of the buttons, it will open the gate. But I wanted to add a little twist, which you will see in a minute. The making of this was pretty simple. Just there were a few bugs that really irritated me and did take quite a while to fix. And now you may be wondering, what's with the wrench? Well, basically, for the twists, I decided to make it when you actually press all of the buttons, the door would break, meaning that you would have to go and find a power box to fix. And if you did fix that power box, it would connect to the door and it would actually fix it, and the door would open for you and you could actually progress through the story. I also decided to make the door deadly because why not? And as you can see, when I press all the buttons, the door breaks, and then when I got to the power box and use the wrench on it, it will actually fix and it will unlock the door for you. Making the gate was simple to make, but the only bad side to it was I kept on encountering loads of bugs, which was really irritating. So I decided to skip it because I felt like I don't think you would want to watch me fail and have to fix loads of bugs all the time. It had been the next day and I was feeling a lot more motivated, but there were some few things that did irritate me a little bit, such as the maze. I thought that it was quite big and it would just take a very, very long amount of time to just get to one side to another. So I decided to scale it right down and still keeping it a little bit hard to go through the maze, but not long to go through the maze, if that makes sense. All I had to do was just add everything back so it would look as normal again. Coming out of the power box, I wanted to add a wire, just so the players knew where to go if they wanted to find where the power box was. A quick note, I am cutting down major bits in the video just for my own good, so that it won't take that long to edit the whole video, so I can also post it for you guys. I then started to test it out just to see if everything works and there's no bug. Before you guys get scared yourself, while testing it out, I do get jump scared myself. From that jump scare, that kind of gave me an idea that I want to add a jump scare to the game. Because if it's a horror game, I feel like it needs one. And as I had just finished, here's a little test play of how the jump scare looks like. As you can see, it moves the camera right into the alien's face, and it is pretty scary. The next thing I wanted to work on was a death screen. So if you die in the game, it will pull up a death screen and you won't be able to respawn, and will unfortunately have to play again. This was fairly easy, but I didn't really know how to teleport the player to a certain place, so they wouldn't be able to play the game somehow. As you can see, I sort of knew what I was doing, but at some parts I was a bit confused. And as you can see, when we walk into something, or if something kills us, it will play the "You Died" screen. And I also added a extra button, and if you clicked it, it would teleport you back to the lobby. I began to play test it just to see if everything was working correctly, and yeah. It was finally safe to say we're on the last level, or map, whatever you want to say. For this map, I already had an idea in mind, and this was going to be a rescue unit team thing, where you would come across some sort of building, and you would need to, get someone on a radio to help rescue you, and a helicopter will come and they will rescue you, I guess. First thing I was going to build was a ladder that would take you to the actual ground, so you could at least get good, signal for your rescue, or something like that, I don't know. I asked ChatGPT for some ideas because I wasn't really sure at the time. I then used Blender to help me create a cool looking tree because I don't really want to use the same tree over and over again because I felt like it was too repetitive. I then exported it to Roblox and added some leaves on it, and it looked like a pretty good tree to me. Instead of adding a building, a really cool idea clicked to me, and I thought of adding a radio tower where you would have to go across the map and find different signal pieces for I forgot what it's called, but it's like a thing that you use to get signal on radio towers. I'm not sure what they're called, you might have to search it up. But if you know what I mean, basically the whole idea was you go around the map and you find these pieces and you basically build one until you can actually get signal for the rescue team to actually rescue you. Making this radio tower did frustrate me quite a lot, seeing as I didn't really know how to build it that well, and I'm not even sure what they really look like. But even with the help of some picture references, I still could not do it. As you can see, making the radio tower did take quite a bit of time. Finally, once I had finished with the radio tower, I started working on the actual radio itself, so you could actually contact the rescue team. At first, I wanted to make a building, but I didn't think it would fit where next to the radio tower. As you can see, at that time I was kind of really confused on what I really wanted to put there, but I kind of did know, but I didn't know how to build it and how to base it around the radio tower. I didn't really know what to do, so I gave it my best shot at making a radio and just a small desk for it to go on. I used the Archimedes plugin to help me give it a sense that a wire is connected to the radio onto the radio tower, if that makes sense. Obviously it wouldn't logically, but I just wanted to make it look like the radio was at least connected to something. I began making the buttons on the radio so that we could actually fit the puzzle into the radio a little bit. For this, I wanted to make a puzzle where the rescue team would contact you and tell you to press 3 buttons, these 3 buttons in a specific order, and if you did, it would help them sort of get your location more accurate, I suppose. It's just something that is just added there, just so you're not sitting there waiting for the rescue helicopter to come, you know what I mean? For this, I used voice mod to make some sort of AI voice thing, because I did try to make a rescue team voice with my own voice on voice mod. That's a lot of voices in that one sentence. But it didn't really come out that well, so I ended up using a AI on the voice mod app, and it came out pretty well, I'm not even gonna lie. Now, this is where the puzzle comes in, the actual puzzle. So, like I said before, you go around the map to find these parts off a satellite dish, and you can build it with them parts, and it will give you signal for the rescue team to locate you. As you can see, the satellite dish doesn't look as realistic as I wanted it to be, but I mean, it doesn't really have to be that realistic because it is a Roblox game. I began adding the barriers to the map, just so it wasn't so plain, I suppose. After I had scripted the actual satellite puzzle, here's how it turned out. As you can see, you walk around the map and you can find parts, and it will progressively put it onto the actual signal. So once you've got all 3 of them, it will say at the top, we should get signal now, and the sound will play of the rescue team. I had skipped the part where I was building the helicopter due to it taking quite a while to even actually build it for some reason. I don't know, I had to look on Google Images and everything to actually figure out how to make it and how to make it look good. Because obviously I didn't want it too realistic and too smooth. I kind of wanted it to be like an old Roblox one, I suppose. It kind of does look like it's from Jailbreak, and that is kind of what I'm trying to go for, so yeah. Also, it did take me quite a while to actually get the size correct because I needed at least 6 people to fit on there, so yeah. Once built the helicopter and sized it properly, I had to script it, and knowing how long it took me to do the planes on the first lobby on the lobby map, honestly, I was quite scared. I decided to make it on the separate script just to make everything way easier when it comes to like optimization and just other stuff like that. I'm not going to go into full detail, but I just want to say that the helicopter was one of the most hardest and annoyingest scripts basically throughout making the whole thing. Maybe except for the planes, because it's basically the same as this, but again, it took me at least an hour to figure out how to make it move, and a bloody thing to rotate. It is honestly quite annoying. After making the helicopter, I began testing it just to see if there's any bugs. So if you do see the text at the top a little bit not Englishing, you might say, yeah, that's sort of a bug, but that's only because I'm cheating. As you can see, the helicopter goes down. At the moment, you won't get teleported when you sit on the actual helicopter, and it won't move, so that's what I'm about to do any minute now. As you can see, now, if we playtest it, the helicopter will come back down. When we sit on the helicopter, we will be teleported, and the helicopter will fly away in an amount of seconds once everybody is seated on it. And guys, I am afraid to say that is it. That the game is done. Apart from a few bugs that I can fix later in progress, the game is done. Alright boys and girls, that wraps up part 2 of the horror game series. As you've seen, we've basically reached the end of the game. If I decide to make updates, I won't make a fuss about it, especially if it's just minor tweaks or bug fixes. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!